Good.
Yeah.
Are we live? Can you see
Yes.
me?
Yeah.
Because I can see myself. Okay. Hi, everyone, and welcome to another Everyday
Hmm.
Conversations episode. So, before we introduce our very special guests tonight, Ronald and I, by the way, I'm Christine, and my husband is
Ronald.
Ronald, and we just want to share, the rationale behind having this segment, this everyday conversations, and it's just simply seeing the need for support for all the married couples out there. It's been for us at least a month since we were on lockdown, and many marriages are experiencing a lot of
Disruptions
yeah,
and adjustments.
yeah,
Need for adjustments.
yeah. And yeah, so with that, we thought, since we have experienced that firsthand, why not like put it online, have people share, especially seasoned couples. They have like this wealth of knowledge. And so tonight, without further ado, we would like to share that we have pastors. Wait, there we go. Hi, we have Pastor Jerry and
Pastor
Ate
Gloria.
Gloria from
Yeah.
Yes.
they're from Singapore, but right now they're in Baguio in the Philippines.
Mhm.
They what do you call that? They,
Lockdown.
no, but you were supposed to fly back to
We're
Singapore,
stranded.
and they're kind of stranded there right now. But I think this is an opportune time to get in touch with them again and ask for their tips and what they can share
Share.
their wisdom about a lot of married couples now. It's the thing, Pastor and Ate Gloria, is that this discussing things like this online, it's pretty taboo, and I
Mm.
think it's very good to put some things out there. We know that there are still some things that's better discussed inside the bedroom, but
Mhm.
Mm.
a lot of things, like little things that can help couples navigate their way through, especially this time. It's unprecedented. It's no one
Mm.
knows what's happening and what's gonna happen next, so we can learn a lot from you tonight, so welcome.
Yeah, thank
Thank
you.
you.
Hello, everyone. We're glad to be here, and we hope that whatever we will be able to share tonight will just help in some way to each one of you during this time, as Christine said,
Mhm.
this time that is so unexpected. And I think this has caught us by surprise in somehow.
Mhm.
Yeah. So hello there.
Yeah. Thank you for having us. Thank you for having us. Yeah.
But before we dive into our burning questions, we just want to tell everyone that we're not professional
Mhm.
counselors.
That's
We're not
right.
psychologists. And
Mm.
in any situation where, say, one of our audience there requires professional advice, we're advising them also to seek professional help. So for our very first question, maybe we will address you both as both pastors. Pastors Jerry and Pastor Gloria. So,
Siguro Kuya Jerry and Ate Glo na lang.
okay.
Kuya Jerry and Ate Glo na lang talaga.
Yeah,
Yeah.
why
Yes,
not?
fine.
This will be
Yeah.
fine. Yes.
So we know that many couples are feeling very isolated now, and I think what makes your experience and our experience kind of valuable in this scenario is because we have experience being uprooted. So, like for
Mhm.
your case, you came from the Philippines and then you migrated to America, and then because of the ministry you moved to Singapore. So you have experienced that feeling of isolation and feeling of uncertainty. So, like, what can give the tips that you can give to couples who might be feeling very isolated and detached from their families, and they feel like they're going insane. They can't handle it anymore.
Mhm.
Mm.
Well, let me speak about our experience as states first. Uh, I followed them, they went ahead of me. And the great adjustment for me was dealing with aloneness
Mm.
and certainty. So both. Uh, that happened because we left a pastorate in the Philippines, and then the new culture, the new place was uh, uh, it was a big change, something that you have to adjust to, and so I felt alone, even if I was with my wife and our son, who was just 1 year old then, and there were so much uncertainties because of the new place. But the fact that I know that God opened the door for us as a family, and being together as a family made up uh, for the feelings of being alone and being so uncertain with what the future holds for us. And it just had to be a day to day, month to month, and year to year, looking at things. And little did we know, we were there for 15 years until we had
Yes.
to leave the States for Singapore. So that's the
How
States.
long did you how long did you stay in America po before you moved to
We stayed for 15 years
Yeah.
in the States before we moved to Singapore. How about your experience, Anne? So
I
yours.
think with me, it was more of uncertainty than the feeling of aloneness or isolation. And that is because my family the family members were already in the States during that time. So my siblings were there, my parents were there. And of course, when we were there, it was like we lived with my parents for a while. So it was we had family over there. So I didn't
Mhm.
experience that sense or that feeling of aloneness. But to me, it was the feeling of uncertainty, especially because when we went to the States, I was already teaching. So in the Philippines, I felt like I was really uprooted. I have been teaching already for like 3 years, and then we had to go and we had to leave. So it was the feeling of uncertainty, but what really helped me was to take it one day at a time. So I had to do it was tough, the first I would say the first year was really tough. But what really helped me was when I said to myself that, oh, I'll take it one day at a time because I don't know what the future is. And the things that made me worried, oh, I didn't know if it was going to happen. So I said to myself, okay, take it one day at a time, and then don't think of the future yet because you don't know if what you're thinking of is going to happen.
Mhm.
So that helped me in my personally in my adjustment in that
Yeah.
place.
Yes.
Yeah, and then when we came to Singapore, the challenge of the ministry uh, more or less took our focus of being alone and uncertain in a new place. We didn't have any relatives, Singapore, but because of being involved in ministry, fast-paced life, I think that took away our feelings of aloneness and uncertainty when we went to Singapore.
Mhm. But
Yeah, in
that's also
Singapore,
the.
I mean, to me, it was a different situation because family
Mm.
members were not there. I mean, it was just the three of us. But God, in His goodness, provided a church family who
Yeah.
embraced us, with no conditions at all.
Mhm.
And of course, it's different now because of the social distancing and the physical distancing that we have to experience. But during that time, that was back in 2005 when we went to Singapore, it was also a realization that we were there because it was part of God's plan for us. And when people ask me when during our first few months, oh, do you like Singapore? And my answer then was, well, I like it because it's where God wants us to be at this time. So that mindset of knowing that you are where you are because of a divine plan helps a lot in the adjustment.
True, true,
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ah, that's really nice. I really like it that you have both put emphasis on living day to day, because I think
Yeah.
it's natural for us to worry,
Yeah.
and the uncertainty and the feeling of aloneness. Like for our case, we don't have family here in Australia, so moving from Singapore to Australia was
Mm,
really a massive move.
yes.
So we can really relate to the living day to day. And even right now, in this
Mm.
time, it's the same. We can really,
There's no control.
yeah, we don't.
We're used to having
Yes.
control, and all of a sudden we don't have control at the moment.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yep.
so
Yeah.
really,
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, day to day, and we continue praying every day for for grace.
Yeah.
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 So,
Mm.
do you want to add something to that? Or you want to move to the next
Oh,
question?
jumping to current.
Yeah,
If
yeah,
that
because
talks.
I'm saying that it's even like probably worse right now for some,
Mhm.
because especially the extroverts, because they
Mm,
have lost contact to the world. And
yeah.
I think I read somewhere about people going through like really bouts of depression and
Mhm. Yep.
anxiety. And of course it doesn't help that they probably watch a lot of news. So yeah, and I think technology helps. Reaching out helps, whether it's on WhatsApp or Viber or Facebook.
Yeah.
Uh,
Mm.
yeah, we see the value in technology
Now.
now,
Yeah.
especially now. Okay, so do you want to
Yeah.
maybe?
I think one of the things that we can do at this time that we are not able to be with people, physically, is for us to reach out to others. So instead
Through
of,
technology.
yeah, through tech,
Mm.
that's why it's a blessing. Technology is a blessing at this time. Uh, but instead of waiting for others to reach out to us, I think it would help a lot in our own what uh,
Little way.
uh, in our feelings of depression,
Yeah.
that we really
Reach out.
reach out to others,
Yeah,
maybe through
true.
a text or through a call. Yeah, we can really
Yeah, yeah.
it will
Uh,
help us.
it is so good that even like for this case, for what happened with us, it was just a simple Facebook Messenger that started it.
Mm, yeah,
Mm.
yeah, yeah.
We're live.
Yep.
So okay. So you want to ask your
Okay. I
question?
mean, they partly answered it, but
Yeah.
maybe to dig deeper,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's personal relationship
Mm-hmm.
or external circumstances that we're facing now, how
Yeah.
you are able to cope or evolve. So I'm thinking, even from a marriage point of
Mm-hmm.
view, people change over time
Mhm.
individually.
Yes,
Mm.
of course,
Some
yes.
one partner faster than the other,
Yep.
um, and more so now, even externally our environment's changing. So your thoughts or advice on how
To evolve.
to evolve or how to cope, at least, with the
Yeah.
changes.
Yeah, with the changes.
And
Like
really
we're all.
significant.
I think one word that they're using now is this is the new normal. Uh,
Mm,
Yes.
Yeah,
we're
or
all
the new
secluded. Yeah,
reality.
we're
Mm-hmm.
together as a family. If our children are not with us, it's just you and your spouse. And
yeah.
can you imagine 24/7 for
Mm,
until the lockdown ends or until the stay home order is lifted? We will be together as a couple. So, uh, well, to me, for us to be able to adjust to this change or to this new normal, uh, I think one important thing is we just have to start loving it. We just have to start enjoying it. We just
Mhm.
have to face the fact that you're together as a couple for 24 hours, 7 days a
Yeah.
week, uh, until the orders are lifted.
Mhm.
Well, if you're not going to enjoy and love being together with your spouse, I don't know what will make you beat the boredom or even the conflict if anything arises from there. But I would
Exactly.
say we just have to accept the fact that it's something that we
Yeah.
have to cope up with, something that we have to accept, something that we have to adjust with, but above all, something that we have to enjoy and love, which is
Mm,
being together as a couple, yeah, or as a
yeah.
family.
Yeah, there's a saying that goes, if you cannot beat them, join them. I mean,
Yeah.
if you cannot beat the situation, then you might as well just accept it
Mhm.
because you know that it's something beyond your control. Even if
Mhm.
you worry or you sulk, uh,
Mm.
it doesn't change. It doesn't change the situation. So how do we deal with the situation that we cannot control,
Yeah.
that we cannot change? Then it's a change of something from, in the way we think, I would
Yes.
say, and
Mhm.
in the way that you deal with the situation.
True.
Yeah, maybe at first it could be very frustrating, and it
Mhm.
is good to acknowledge the emotions, the negative emotions that we experience. It's
Mhm.
good. It's really good for us if we acknowledge those, the worry, the fear that is in our hearts,
Mhm.
or even the anger that is in our hearts. It's good to acknowledge that. But what is not good is when we remain in those negative emotions.
Yeah.
That will not change our situations anyway. I
I
think there's
agree.
one person who said that it's okay not to be okay, but
Yeah.
it's not okay to remain not
Not okay.
okay. Yeah. So,
Nako, nako. Kasi
yeah.
I think the key there is maybe taking a step back and
Mhm.
just
Yeah.
think, is this something that I can change or my spouse and I can do something about? Because
Mhm.
if
Mhm.
not, then the acceptance comes in, and
Yes.
maybe a bit of adjustments here and there, like
Yeah.
little things like, because I think we have talked about it last night, how a lot of couples right now, they didn't see the how massive the change would be
Yeah.
Mm,
now that
yes.
it's 24 by 7, as opposed to just seeing each other a couple of hours at
Mm.
night.
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
and just you have dinner and just sleep or do whatever, and then on the weekends when they're both probably excited because it's the weekend. So
Yeah.
Mhm.
now like really like
Every day.
24, yeah, every day, which leads us to our next question, which has something to do with um how, I don't know if I can say like everyone or all couples have different personalities. I mean, I
Yes.
Yeah.
say it's true for us. And
For every
so
couple.
for every couple, okay.
Yeah. Every
So
couple.
yeah, so meaning they also have like opposite strengths and weaknesses, and those weaknesses get magnified when they're
Mhm.
under
Yeah.
pressure. Situation
Yes.
right now. They can't spend time apart. They probably, the husband can go to the garage or something for a little bit, but it's still being together and having to just deal with each other. So since, because you've
Yeah.
experienced being together in the ministry for 34 years and
Mm,
Mhm.
24 by 7, because you worked together in the same ministry for
Mm.
18 years. I mean,
yeah.
how was it like transitioning to that that life, that journey,
Mhm.
live, being together, ministry at home, and everything.
Mm,
Yeah. So I would say we would like to thank God for
Mhm.
preparing us for 18 years. to be together 24/7, at least 2 years in the States, 16 years in Singapore. So now we're experiencing having to be together for 24/7. To me, the 18 years of preparation was a great blessing because now we don't have to do much adjusting. I mean, we've
Yes.
been there for 18 years. So even if we would be here for another probably a year of being locked down, it's not much of an adjustment.
Difference.
I would say if you're there 24/7, like we are right now in Baguio, we've been here for what, over a month?
Yeah, over a month.
It's just a matter of finding ways and means that you can begin to do things together and then also enjoy doing things together.
Mhm.
One thing that we're doing every day is we wake up at about, we get up at about 6 o'clock and then we do our morning walk, just going back and forth uh, in one private road, and then doing it for 30 minutes. We're enjoying it. We're
Mhm.
praying while we're doing that. We're talking while we're doing that. So
Mhm.
it's really just facing up to the fact that since you're here and you're gonna change it, then you might as well find ways and means that you can enjoy it and even strengthen the relationship while you're
Yes.
in this.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
But of course, that situation with the two of us did not happen. I mean, it's a product of many years
mhm.
of being together 24/7. But during the first years that we had to work together in the ministry, and we had, we were in the same office. There were times that we also experienced that I couldn't stand this person. That
Yeah.
feeling that I've
Yeah.
had it. Yeah, and so when those, I'm just recalling, the first few or the first many years that we had to adjust
Mhm.
to just wherever you go, you see him, and there's no place that you can go that the other person will not see you, except of
Yeah.
course when you go to the bathroom. But uh, the thing that we learned is that when you are already at it, you could sense it as a couple. You could sense it when something is brewing.
Uh-huh.
That
Mm.
e- even if there's no physical space that you can go to just take a breather, you can actually, we call it our imaginary balcony.
Mm.
You if there's a space, you just leave for a moment, not leave the house, okay? Because we have made it a point that if you are in a situation that it seems like something is going to escalate, like an
Mhm.
argument is going to escalate, we we have made it a point that nobody leaves the house. But of course, right
Mhm.
now you cannot leave the house, right?
Yeah. Guys.
That is one thing good. But what we have been doing is that maybe one will just go to another room in the house. We
Yeah.
just need to break away from each other to cool down, to calm down, and then we can get together again when we are ready to do that. So I think as couples, we can actually communicate and talk about what we should do if there are times that we have had enough of each other.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And there is no, that's why Christine, you were saying a while back that with the before this situation, uh you both of you go to work, and then you just see each other for dinner and you are just so excited. But then if we remember when we were courting during our courtship days, we didn't want to be away from one another.
Mhm.
We
What
just
happened?
wanted to be together, remember? We just wanted to be together. But now that we are husband and wife, I think we can go back
Mhm.
um,
Mhm.
to that situation that we just want to be together.
Mhm.
I think
Yeah.
yeah, I'm not, I may be wrong. We've only been married for 17 years. I think as
Mm.
you get on with the marriage, a lot of layers are like a banana. They're being
Mhm.
Mm,
peeled, and so
yes.
lose that, probably the
Privacy.
excitement,
Okay.
the excitement of just being
Mm,
together, like in courtship, down to the but
Mm.
yeah.
probably the few years of marriage. And then I really like it, Ate Glo, when you said um, couples should have an agreement or an
Yeah.
arrangement how they can go about, like a situation where they're arguing, or like how to
Yeah.
argue.
Yes.
Um, I'm very sure because we have been there, being immature,
Mhm.
back we're both like trying to we were thinking that we're trying to fix things, but it's really just the pride and the ego getting in the
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
No, you
Yes.
change, or no, but you should change.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
not getting anywhere. But yeah, I think I really like it.
Yeah, establish some rules
Yes,
on
yeah,
how to
establishing
Mhm.
rules.
Yes.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah.
not
And
necessarily.
and we were and we were also you were saying about
Mm.
you know, no one of us is able to change
Yeah,
anybody. I mean,
we can never change each other. Uh,
Mm.
the, I mean, being in ministry all these years,
Mm-hmm.
we all know that it's only God who can change
yes,
us.
yes,
Yes.
yes, yeah.
And so, if we
And we were also you were saying about
let me mention this. Um, God allowed the COVID pandemic to happen uh, because He set us up as a couple. So
or
in
as a
the
family, yeah.
yeah, or as a family. So in the wisdom of God, in the humor of God, we find
Humor.
ourselves being together, and God has used the pandemic for us to come together as a couple and as a family. So we're hoping that with this new normal, as a couple, we would develop to appreciate one another first and foremost, and then we would become stronger and united as a couple. And after the pandemic, we would even appreciate the time that we have been together because of how God has molded us, has changed us, and then made us to go back to the basics of
Yeah.
being able to know each other more, appreciating each other, working together as a couple, and then being together as a family. Yeah.
I think
Yeah, and
we yeah. Go
hmm,
ahead.
yeah, before this situation, remember how we hear so many people saying, "Oh, I don't have time.
Hmm.
I rarely see my husband. Uh, I we can have happy time together. It's just a challenge." So now we have it. We have what we have been desiring for. We just need to know what to do with it. Yeah.
I think a lot, many, or maybe everyone will agree that this pandemic has brought us to think how we are being brought back to appreciate the basic, simple things, like
Yes.
Hmm.
Yeah.
in the marriage, in our family.
Mm.
In every adjustment. I think there will always be like difficulties and challenges
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
to accept.
Definitely.
Otherwise, it will really steal our joy.
Mhm.
Yes. Yeah. So
Okay.
it's finding something good in the bad situation. I mean, to others, this is really a bad. It's a very overwhelming, stressful situation. But just as you said, I think the word these days is essential.
Mhm.
So we can look at what is
What
really
really is
essential in
essential?
this
What is important?
relationship. I mean, for couples they can talk about it. We can talk about it and say, "Oh, what is essential in our relationship?"
Mhm.
And it can.
It brings me again to what you said earlier po, yung it's okay to not be okay.
Yes,
Mhm.
Uh, don't stay
Don't stay
in,
there.
yeah, don't stay there.
Yeah,
Don't,
don't stay there. Yeah,
Situation.
yeah, I
yeah,
believe
yeah,
that so much. I think in every situation that's applicable. It's not like we're asking everyone to shove their marital issues under the rug.
yeah.
Hmm.
Never about it, but
Yes,
adjust and,
yes,
try to work work it out.
yes, yes.
Yeah.
Work it out. Yeah,
I think we can move to our next question, and I want to read this joke. Maybe a lot of people out there, because this joke was on Twitter. The wife
Mm.
said that uh, she's becoming very aware of her husband's toenails, and she's ready to get voted off the island because they can see everything, even inside the house. They can see the problem with, say, the walls or the doors or whatever, because they've been there for so long, 24/7.
Mhm.
So um, I think we have touched on this a little bit earlier about honoring the
yeah.
space.
The space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes this causes friction and irritation to some couples.
Mm,
Maybe because, I don't know, lack of communication. Maybe so. But like, what are your tips in regards to like being together for 18 years in the ministry and going? I'm sure you still need that, me time, that alone time. How do
yes.
you
Mhm.
carve that, especially in this situation?
Yes. Mm.
Uh, we just have to keep respecting the space, the individuality
Yeah. Yeah.
of the couple. Uh, it brings me back to our last vacation when we went to the States
To visit there.
to visit Dale, our son. And then even before we went, I sent a message to Dale and I said, "Hey, look for Lakers tickets." And he did. He was able to find something that was affordable. And Dale and Elizabeth, the wife, and myself went. And she didn't go because, I mean, what's basketball to her is something, a game played in the moon. So he doesn't enjoy it. But
Yeah.
she gave us permission to go.
Mm-hmm.
And uh, and I appreciate the space that she gave us with our son and our daughter-in-law to bond. And at the same time, I didn't have any right to force her to come
Yeah.
with us. So we still have to respect the space that each one has. And even if we're here 24/7, uh, if she wants to read a book and she wants
Mm.
to go back to the room, then I've got to let her have that. And
Mm-hmm.
if I want to go up to the roof deck and just relax with the music
Yeah. And
and
watch an old Lakers basketball
or
game.
watch an old Lakers basketball game, then I still have that space. So it's just respecting the space that we still have.
Yeah, I think we need to realize that although we are together as a
Locked
unit
down.
and we are together as a couple, we still have our individual
Ah,
personalities, and oh, we cannot trespass. We cannot uh,
Boundary.
uh, just we cannot force the person to like what we like if the person doesn't really like it.
mhm.
And of course, if the person also, it's like, if that person doesn't want to like, I mean, doesn't want to eat chicken adobo, we don't force the person just because I like it. So I think
Mm,
it's really acknowledging that my husband or my wife uh, has his or her own personality or her own individuality,
Mhm.
and I need to be able to embrace that or to accept that, and I don't I don't become controlling and
mm,
insist what I want that the other person does. Yeah, I think that's what we need to remember as well. Yeah. Mm.
but that's really good in terms of really seeing your partner as a separate person, because
Yeah.
usually, especially at this time, it's like, okay, we have to work together, we have to work together as a
Mm.
team, and we're not thinking like, okay, my husband has his own thing,
Mm.
whether he
Yeah.
wants to, watch some basketball, which he
Yeah.
does.
Yeah.
So we have to kind of honor it, give it to the other person. So
Yeah,
I
yeah.
that we have that respect and the communication as well. Like I want to have this bit of time to do some.
Mm.
But how about po if we relate it to say maybe couples with younger kids?
Okay.
Maybe po during those 18 years, maybe Dale was still at school.
Mm.
Um, also very busy with the ministry. How was it like po transitioning? I mean, like trying to balance, achieve that balance in your relationship.
uh, we developed the habit of after the day's activity. I think
Yeah, I was working
you
full
were
time then,
working
yes.
full time, and you were
Yes.
in an insurance agency. I think I was working at home, and uh, well, of course, you've been apart for the day. So when you come together in the evening, you've got to do
Mm,
something together. So if you want to keep that communication going, you just have to carve that time of being together, and then enjoying that time together. Like
Mm.
we used to have a night of tea, just
Yeah,
sitting on the
sitting at the
table,
table,
just talking, and then just asking how the day
sometimes
went.
talking nonsense.
Yeah, just laughing, just enjoying the company of your spouse.
mm,
Yeah.
yeah.
So.
That's really good.
Yeah, again, I think that's when at this time
Mm.
there's a need for the family to coordinate. What I mean is there's a time that all the family members are together, like at meal times.
Mhm.
Uh,
Mhm.
in fact, before the COVID situation, uh, what's the name of this? James James Dobson, focus on the family, said that for a family to be healthy, everyone, the parents and the children, should eat at least one meal together as a family. That's his prescription. And of course, before this situation, it was very challenging to do that. But now that you are all together in the house, there are times that you come together as a family, like I said, on meal times, or maybe when you have a playtime together as a family. And then there will also be a time that you, as a couple, will just be together, maybe when the children are already asleep,
Mm.
or even individual. But I believe that God will give us wisdom. It's very challenging and it's tough to be
Mhm.
able to do all of this. But I know that as we uh, communicate, as we talk about
Mhm.
it, and as we explain to the children what's going on,
Mhm.
I uh, there
Yeah.
will you will be able to have that time of me time, time with the spouse, and then
Time with the
time with the
children. Yeah.
children. Yeah.
I think
I think you can we need at this time we need to establish a routine. If we
a
have,
new
yeah, if we have small children in the or in the home, there has to be a routine. It's not anything goes, or oh, there's no we're working from home, we can do whatever we want, or what schedule we want to follow. I don't think it should be that
Mhm.
situation. Yeah.
it is very very stressful, especially
Yeah.
for moms who have say more than one child, and those
Mm.
say under 10, and they're
Yeah.
all very needy, and they're all maybe doing school as well, and then mom
Mm.
needs to
Mhm.
work. And
Yeah.
sometimes I would have conversations with some mom friends, and although I can relate to some extent, but because I don't have a 9 to 5 at home, they think
Mm.
that I'm like, better off because I don't need to clock in at
Yeah.
work. I think
Yes.
regardless of the situation, there are like different stressors. So it's really good when you said po that it really boils down to
Yes.
communication,
Yes.
putting the family together, having a meeting, find out
Mm.
like the new routine, what works for everyone. Because
Yeah.
otherwise, I'm not sure if I mentioned to you po before that the prices of wine and liquor
Mm.
have shot up
It's in demand.
in demand right now. And I think there's
Yeah.
nothing wrong with it's kind of like an occasional drink, although we're not
Mm.
big wine drinkers. But I think if it's being a go-to kind of for relief, or maybe for to relieve the stress, I think it's better for that person to phone a friend or something because
Yes,
it
yeah,
helps
yeah,
to put it out there and just
yeah,
discuss it with others. But
yeah.
I guess for our last, oh wow, time flew by. It's we're um I think 40 minutes already.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very fast.
Yeah.
Our last question is, say it's very hard for a couple right now nowadays to kind of keep the spark in their marriage being together all the time. Like I mentioned to Ronald before, because we do our groceries together,
Mhm.
or so now. I was like, can you like dress up? Because down. Just because I would, like the other day we went and I just put on some makeup, put on some jeans, because usually you just go with your house shorts or
Yeah, yeah.
t-shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah, but how do you, like, with your experience, for how, yeah, how can we,
Get creative
yeah,
and
get creative? Maybe.
with the limitations.
Yes.
I think that also happens to us. Like,
Yeah.
you've been wearing that shirt for how many days? Can you change that shirt?
Uh, well, how do you keep the spark in a marriage? Um, I think I wrote about three things. Number one, never forget to say "I love you," be it
Mm.
vocal
Mm.
or in an SMS message. Uh, every time I go out, run an errand, even while we're on lockdown, I had to accompany my sister to her hospital treatment. Uh, and while waiting for my sister, I would get my phone. And after she sends a message, I would answer and then I would reply, I love you. So I think we should never forget that even no matter how long uh, we've been married for 33
Three.
years.
Yes.
Yeah. Uh, we should not stop courting. Husbands should not stop courting their wives. So never be stingy. Never be
Stingy.
stingy in
Saying
saying
I
"I
love
love you."
you.
Um, show your affection
Mm.
physically, and maybe to me, I've gotten into the habit of buying her flowers all these years.
Mm.
Um,
Sweet.
Anya, I bought her flowers just the other day. It's expensive. It's going to wilt, but it's just a matter of showing that the
Mm.
spark's still there, the love is
Mm.
still there. And then I think the third thing that we should never forget is never cease being a gentleman to your spouse. Open the door for her,
The door
uh,
of the house.
the door of the house, the
Right
door of
now.
the
The
car.
bedroom.
Pull out the
True.
chair. It's going to fit your business.
Or of-
Just
Yeah.
serving.
Just serve.
Yeah.
Yeah, just serving. Just showing how much you care.
Mm.
And
Mhm.
um, I think we never should grow old in showing our love and care for each other.
Yeah.
That's nice. I before po Ate Glo shares her thoughts, I just want to go back to what you said, Bo, when you said when you shared you buy flowers for
Yeah.
Ate, and then you kind of emphasized on the practical side of it, that it's going to wilt and it's expensive.
Yeah, yeah,
Typical ano po yan eh.
Married na.
Yeah. Yeah.
For a man to say na, oh, this is expensive, what should I buy? But then, as you
yeah.
said, if it's the love language of the
The
spouse,
spouse.
it's not
Yes.
so much about you, but about the other person's needs.
Mm.
Yes.
Really nice po.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, let's always go back to the five languages of love and find the language of your spouse and then just meet it.
Just speak it.
Just speak
Yeah.
it.
And if you don't speak the love language of your spouse, then learn to speak it.
Yeah.
Like what we would like when we learn any language, I think.
Mm.
I think for me, the keeping the spark of uh, marriage relationship, all my thoughts, I think, would boil down to one thing, which is do not take each other for granted.
Mm.
Because, the quotation, especially if you've been married for quite some time, the familiarity sometimes, uh,
It's content.
yeah, comes in and you begin to take each other for granted. You get used to the wife, for example, cooking and
Mm.
serving the meals. And so we don't even bother to say thank
Thank
you
you.
for such a yummy or such for cooking. Uh, but if we develop that habit of just paying attention, being mindful of each other, I think is the present is very important.
Hmm.
It's not taking each other for granted, because if you don't take each other for granted, then you would spend time talking. You would notice what the other person does. You would notice what the person likes. And sometimes I would hear wives say that, oh, my husband is always on the computer.
Mm.
My husband has a mistress. And I said, huh, mistress? And the mistress is a phone or a gadget. Because the
Yeah.
husband is spending more time on these things. So I think to keep the spark in our relationship is just to treat each other in a way that we will never take each other for
Yeah.
granted. Of course, we fail at times, and that's where forgiveness comes in.
Mm.
But what we have experienced over the years, over the 33 years that we have been married, is also our trust in God. uh, God has to be there in the relationship, because when all else fails, and yeah, all will fail, He is the constant that will never change.
Mm.
I mean, yeah, He's the constant, so He never changes. So I think that's also very important that in this time of uncertainty, in this time of um fear and anxiety, we need to have someone that we could hold on to, that we could trust, someone that,
Mm.
and of course, that's just, God, and we have to have Him in this relationship. Yeah.
You wanna add something?
No, I think that's it's hard to top that.
uh,
Mm.
I I really actually I was writing down notes, but I think I have to rewatch this video because there's just so many things that are very practical, yet we don't kind of apply them because
Mm.
probably too preoccupied with
Yes.
things like our
That's good.
concerns, so we're not focused
Mhm.
on the solution.
Yeah.
And I remember when I heard a friend, and she said something about her husband always playing,
Mm.
and I think there might be like a communication gap there somewhere
Yes.
because yeah, and the sad thing is marriage, just like parenting, they don't come with a manual. So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, how nice is it that we can listen to you? And there's just so much wisdom from experience, and I think more than what we can read from maybe books.
Mhm.
It's so nice to hear like fresh perspective, like how it was for you, because like we're
Mm.
probably halfway in the journey to
Mm.
where you are. But really, thank you so much po. Thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for your time, such valuable tips, and yeah, we will treasure this time po.
Yeah.
Yeah, we thank you also for the opportunity
Yeah.
to be here. Yeah, and to share. you know.
Yeah.
Thank
Thank
you
you,
po
Tin.
for
Thank
yeah,
you
thank you
so
po for
much.
the opportunity
Yeah,
also.
yeah,
Have a
thank you.
stay safe po in Baguio.
Okay.
Yeah,
You stay
yeah.
safe too.
Yes.
Okay. Lord bless you.
Yes.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank
Calvin
you.
says Calvin is online.
Oh,
So
okay.
Hello.
I think Calvin and Rosel are online.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you
Okay.
po, and
Thank you so much.
stay in touch.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes, we will
let's
keep
keep
in
in touch.
touch.
Okay.
Yes. Thank you
Thank you
for the
po.
opportunity. Okay,
Thanks
bye.
everyone on Facebook if you're watching. Okay,
Thank
have a
you.
good night.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.